What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate, reverse ranch, no hate. So, a couple of things I want to talk about. There's a lot of things being said in boxing right now, and like I've been pushing for, let's talk or action. Now, one thing I want to talk about first, as you know, Benavides, he's fighting Ronald Ellis, and he was asked a question that I like the question simply because he responded, and he didn't have to trash talk about the situation. He didn't. He basically just got to the point. He was asked about the comments that Charlo made and Canelo as excuses to not fight him. Now, anybody who knows me, who's been watching, I rock with the Charlos. But this whole you have to get vaccinated, like, okay, so Jamal, so everybody you fight, are you gonna ask them the same thing? Same thing go for them? What about you? Same thing go for you? Why Benavides? Why only Benavides? Why, you understand what I'm saying? Like, that's, to me, it's stupid. I don't know if he's just being a smart ass or whatever, but it's stupid. It's an excuse. Now, Charlo doesn't fight at 168. The thing about Charlo is 168 is not deep, man. People keep talking like it's a whole lot. No, it's really not deep. And be perfectly honest with you, um, the only big fight, the only big fight that's there for him really is Gennady Golovkin. I'm really not interested in seeing Golovkin fight any top guy. I'm not. That's why when I say I'm not interested in watching Gennady Golovkin fight, period, is because I see him as going down. I've seen his last fight with this C class fighter, even D class fighter. Matter of fact, just D class fighter, not even C, a D class fighter. He did what he had to do against the guy, but at the same time, it's like this guy that does not prove anything. It just proves he can beat a D class fighter. He can still beat a D and C class fighter. But okay. And the whole thing is, if you can no longer compete with the elite guys, then it's like, why are we even looking forward to that fight? There's names that's there. Do you really care to see Charlo fight these guys? There's no superstar names. So for him to go up and fight Benavides at 168, because Benavides is not going down. Okay? Now, I don't knock a guy for staying in his weight class, because let's just be real, okay? People praise Marvin Hagler. He fought nothing but middleweight his entire pro career. So, nobody said, oh, he should go up and fight this guy, that guy, or he should go down and fight. No. Whether it was Raylan Hearns, Duran, whoever it was, they all came up to 160. And it wasn't natural 160 pounders, but he was. Regardless. So nobody bashing for that. I'm not bashing anybody for not going up to a particular weight class. And the thing is, he didn't bring up Benavides. People are bringing up Benavides to him. I just think that was a stupid excuse, though. You understand what I'm saying? That's not, like, really? Come on, man. That was a dumbass excuse. He has to get vaccinated first. So if he really meant that shit, and if he was just being silly regardless, it was a stupid ass excuse, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, and like I said, I rock with Charlos, but that's bullshit. All right, now Canelo with this whole, now all of a sudden he's patriotic. I'm Mexican and I represent Mexico. I don't want to fight another Mexican. Benavides simply said, in regards to both of them, he said, I can't really speak on those guys and what they feel. He said, but if these guys are going to put restrictions on who they're going to fight and not fight, what does that say about them? I'm only 24. I got at least 12 more years, and that may not be true. Hopefully 12 or how many more he have and he can do. Hopefully he can. But he's right in that sense, because at the end of the day, the longer they wait, just like watching Benavides fight Darrell, okay? The thing is, you can only stay away from a fighter for so long. Okay? Now, again, if Charlo was to say this and stay away from Benavides, but then go to 168 and fight a lesser fighter, then it makes you look like a coward. It's like, it exposes you like, yo, okay, so you didn't fight Benavides. You didn't come up for him, but you came up for this guy. But he's not fighting at 168, so we'll sit back and we'll see what happens with that. Canelo's trying to unify the division. So Benavides, he wants in. He wants to fight Canelo. You understand what I'm saying? And like I said before, it's nothing but an excuse to not fight Benavides. It's nothing but an excuse to not go to 175 again and fight Benavides, because you went up to 175 already. So now all of a sudden, well, my management doesn't want me to give up too many. No, no, no. Stop that bullshit, man. Stop. 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 Now, if he never goes back to 175 for those same reasons, no matter who's there, okay. Same thing for him. We'll sit back and see what happens. Because if he goes back, but that's the thing. Charles never went to 168. He has went to 175. And that's the whole thing where I'm saying what I'm saying. Okay? Because if he is going to say all of a sudden now he don't want to fight another Mexican fighter, but let's just say a Puerto Rican, okay, a black dude, a white dude, an Asian, whoever, gets the title at 175 and all of a sudden he goes and fight that guy, that's going to tell you he clearly didn't want that guy at 175. You understand what I'm saying? He clearly doesn't want to fight Benavides as far as I'm concerned. So at the end of the day, David Benavides, he wants to fight both of those guys. And props to him because this is what boxing needs. All these restrictions and bullshit, now all of a sudden, oh, I'm patriotic, I don't want to fight my country, man. Stop that nonsense, man. Stop. You got people, I look at a guy like Felix Savon, who was a glorified, Olympic fighter from Cuba. They wouldn't let him come to the States and fight. Who knows how far he could have went as a pro? Who knows? But he never got that chance. Here you are, the man in boxing. You are the guy as far as most people are concerned, and now all of a sudden you don't want to fight certain guys because you're from the same country, man. Bullshit. Okay, on to something else. Ugas versus Errol Spence. Everybody was, yeah, that's going to be the next fight. Everybody was, we thought that looked like that's the next logical fight, right? Unification. All of a sudden, now Ugas is pulling on Errol Spence. Now look at this scenario. Terrence Crawford. No, he's not a huge draw, but he's one of the more respected champions in the sport. So is Errol Spence. Errol Spence is the guy right now. Let's just be real. At 147, he's the guy. I don't care if you like him or not. That's not what we talk about. He's the guy, okay? He's saying 60-40 split with Terrence Crawford. If he's given saying that he'll fight Terrence Crawford if it's a 60-40 split, do you really think he's going to go 50-50 with Ugas? And Ugas actually is talking about 50-50. Maybe because Ugas knows Errol Spence is not going to do that. That will make Errol Spence a straight up sucker. Okay? Full-time ducker. If he decides he's going to settle with 50-50, okay, with Ugas, which I can't see that. Because first off, his credentials don't match up with Terrence Crawford's. Okay? And Terrence Crawford, as far as I'm concerned, is a more dangerous opponent than Ugas is. Ugas is a good fighter, but, come on. Like, really? And who do you think people really want to see Ugas and Spence over Spence and Crawford? Of course not. So here's the deal, right? I think Errol Spence is going to wind up fighting somebody else. Now, he'll probably try to find somebody in Ugas type stature, his type, same space as Ugas or whatever, that will fight for the money that they offer. I don't see him doing no 50-50. I don't see that happening. And to be honest with you, now, I can't knock anybody for trying to, get that money, but Ugas doesn't have a big enough profile. You right now are holding the title. If anything, you might see a rematch with Ugas and Porter. Because first off, it doesn't help Ugas to sit back and not make any money or go fight some meatball and make less money. Ugas is not a household name. Okay, he has a loss to Sean Porter. A lot of people feel like he won that fight. Does he rematch Sean Porter? We don't know. Sean Porter's talking now. He's saying he wants to fight Terrence Crawford and that he'll be ready by May. We'll see. Until... Look, I'm like this with boxing. Until we know that contracts are actually signed and we hear from both parties saying the same thing, it's like, I can't get myself up just over conversation because we keep hearing this guy said this guy said that, and it looked like it's a done deal, and all of a sudden, no fight. So, the way I see it is like this. Ugas is overpricing himself. Now, I don't care whether you like Errol Spence as a fighter or not. That's not even the point. He's overpricing himself. And I believe that's purposely because I know damn well he knows Spence is not going to go for that. If he's not going to, like I said, if he's not going to give Crawford, if he's telling Crawford 60-40, what in the hell makes Ugas thinks he's going to get 50-50? Like, I don't see that. Now, let's say, for example, that fight falls apart. It doesn't happen. Now, does Ugas say, hey, yo, does him and his team say, hey, Terrence, what's up with me and you? Does he think he's going to get 50-50? I don't see Terrence Crawford going for 50-50 with Ugas either. I just don't see that. So, Terrence Crawford cannot complain about Spence saying 60-40, right? He can't complain about that. Why? Because at the same time, he has one belt, Ugas has one belt. But Terrence Crawford will say, hey, nobody knows you, Ugas. I'm more known than you. Well, Spence is more known than you. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like they're all doing the same thing to each other. And my thing is like, listen, I'm just breaking down what they're doing, okay? But all this ego crap, it's like nobody wants to fight nobody unless they get things 99% of the way they want it. And it's just not helping boxing. It doesn't help Errol Spence. Okay, he just came back and fought Danny Garcia. Okay, so kudos to him because he was out for a whole year, horrific car accident, and came back and did the damn thing. But it doesn't help him to fight a meatball. Okay, it doesn't help Ugas to go fight a meatball, you know, or either go fight another tough guy that nobody knows. You understand what I'm saying? And get paid chump change for it. You're trying to demand 50-50, bro. You're not that. No, you're not well known enough to even be talking about no 50-50. You know, and in all honesty, you got a belt, but you're not known. So Spence could look at you and be like, 60-40, man, 80-20 for you. He really could do that. Or he could just be like, 60-40, take it or leave it. I'm going to go beat that ass. Okay? Terrence Crawford, he could say to Spence, you know what? You got it. 60-40. I'm going to beat your ass. And in the rematch, I call the shots. And this is what people fail to realize about the first fighter rep. So, you know, you can't just look at Spence and say, oh, man, but he talking about 64. Okay. Either one of them could just give in and say, nah, no problem. If you was confident, as you say you are, either fighter could just say, nah. But, you know, when it's this A-side thing, now, all of a sudden, now, every division, you got, oh, I'm the A-side, I'm the A-side, I'm the A-side, I'm the A-side, right? But at the same time, I will say this, at least for Spence, he's not calling Crawford's name. It's the fans wanting to know, the people wanting to know, are you going to fight Crawford? Which is only right. Because we want to see the best fight the best, right? But you guys should want to fight each other. Now, again, if the shit don't happen, I don't lose no sleep. I really don't care that much. I'm just giving the boxing news. This is what I do. This is why we have a channel, you know? But personally, no. I think that this whole thing is just a big waste. You know, we keep hearing about this guy want to fight this guy want to fight this guy. The following week, this guy wants to fight somebody else. 2 days after that, this guy wants to fight another guy. And it's like, you know what? You guys are playing games. Even now, people they're speculating about this whole Tyson Fury situation. Oh, he's just trying to rib us. He's trying to lure us in and make us think he's not in shape and because of this, because of that. And it's like, listen, you guys play Inspector Gadget, okay, and Barnaby Jones. Y'all team up and figure it out. Me personally, I have no interest in playing these stupid, foolish games. Either you want the goddamn fight or you don't. So all this, oh, I'm drinking 12 pints of liquor a day and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Listen, it's a turn off to me. It's not a build up. It's not, oh, you know, that's Fury just being fair. No. I have no interest in that. If the fight happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But you know what? Going back to Benavides, he said something that I've been saying and others have said for a long time about other fights and situations. He said, this is a fight that the people are demanding, right? They can only run for so long. In the long run, it works against them, which I mentioned because of the age difference, right? But at the same time, this is what I mean about these fighters. Now, for any of us, let's be real. You know, it may be harder for the people who call themselves fans or I'm a fan to understand this concept, to actually do it. But stop supporting fighters for fighting meatballs when they clearly ducked someone that they should have fought. Okay? So if these guys are going to get here, let's just say, for example, right? And I mean this. Let's just say, for example, Errol Spence, right, decides he's going to fight Ugas for 50-50. Now, Ugas has a title, and Ugas is a solid fighter. let's take Ugas out. Let's just say he fights a lesser fighter. Okay, a lesser fighter. Now the excuse is I can't get this guy or that guy, right? It's an excuse and a reason. Why? Because he is the draw out of those three. So I can understand him wanting the lion's share of the money. I'm not at all saying that Crawford or Ugas should get the lion's share. But what I'm saying is he could say, nah, let's go. I'm going to beat your ass. And you know what? Here's the terms. I beat you, and the rematch is 80-20. All right, let's put stipulations on it to where if you're so confident that you can beat me, I'm confident I'm going to beat you. So I'm sticking to my guns, right? So, no, we going to do this 50-50, but next fight is going to, whatever. Listen, man, none of them want to accept what the other guy's saying. But if he goes out and fight a lesser fighter, I'm not watching that shit. And I rock with Errol Spence. You understand me? I'm not going to waste my time, especially on some pay-per-view type thing. I'm going to tune in to watch you fight a lesser fighter. Now, if it's just another fighter that's a top guy, and let's just say, like, right now, we can't, who else will he fight? Like, Keith Thurman or something like that, you know? Even though I doubt that's going to happen because Keith ain't fought for a long time. But I'm just saying, like, if it was a Keith Thurman, something like, yeah, okay. But if he went and fought some guy that doesn't belong in the ring with him, and then now all of a sudden you're paying your money to DAZN or whatever pay-per-view service or whatever to go watch, that's your fault. Nobody's making you watch it. But this is what I mean for any fighter. If they're going to go out and play duck, 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 goose, and then all of a sudden they're fighting some bum, and you're sitting there coming in the comment section talking about he's a runner, he's a ducker, blah, blah, blah. My question to you all is, why are you spending your money, wasting your time supporting this fight? This is how you show these fighters that, no, we support what you do because we love the sport of boxing. But at the same time, right, if you're going to go out here and fight meatballs, we're not supporting that. So when their numbers are terrible and they're not pulling in numbers, they're like, oh, shit, they really not trying to watch this fight. They'll be forced to fight the top guys. And you know what will happen? Negotiations will be different, and they'll work things out because they're going to realize, damn, man, you know, imagine, okay, let's just say, for example, a good number is, let's say 500,000. Let's just say two guys go in there, they fight for 500, and let's say they get 500,000 viewers on pay-per-view, right? And then all of a sudden, their next fight, they go fight a meatball. And let's just say that shit drops. They get like 30,000 views. Do you know how terrible that is? That's a statement from you, from me, from the guys and the women, the men and women that love boxing. That's a statement by us saying, we're not interested in watching you fight meatballs. We only want to see you guys fight top guys. Now, of course, everybody's not going to do that. But you can't blame the fighters for jumping in and fighting these meatballs when you keep supporting this nonsense. And this is what I'm saying. So don't support watching a garbage fight. Well, I just want to see what he look like. Well, then you can't complain. Because again, nobody's making you buy the pay-per-view. But you got to make a statement, and this is how it has to be done. You already can't come out to the arenas because of COVID, but even if you can come out, but it's a situation where you're sitting there sucking your teeth and texting about, man, I can't believe he's fighting this bum. Well, I can't believe you stupid enough to spend your money and waste your money on a garbage fight. It's as simple as that. So, listen, those negotiations, pretty much you're going to know it because nobody wants to step back. But you see what I'm saying? The mentality, the ego. Because now here comes Ugas. Oh, I got a belt on my shoulder now. I'm just as big as you and Crawford. No, you're not, man. No. Let's be real. You have a belt, but nobody really knows no goddamn Ugas other than the people who really are into boxing. Casual fans don't even know who the hell Ugas is. So, at the end of the day, we're right back where we started. No fight between Crawford and Spence. No fight between Spence and Ugas. And pretty much there's just talk about Porter and Crawford. And mind you, there's been nothing but talk from Sean Porter's side. You haven't even heard much from Crawford. I mean, he responded to that with a tweet, but that's it. And at the end of the day, man, we got to stop supporting the nonsense. Pause. So, listen, there's a lot of different platforms that's in boxing right now, where boxing, Eddie Hearn was even talking about this the other day, where boxing is at a point where everybody's trying to come in and make money. Everybody's trying to promote different fights. You can't order a pay-per-view and say, hey, man, well, I didn't even care about the main event. I wanted to see that guy. What? It's your money. It's your decision. But for changes to happen, it's just listen. If you work at a toxic place, right, and things are happening in the ways you don't like, do you just sit there at dinner time or lunchtime and complain about it to your coworkers? Come home miserable, bringing work home, can't even enjoy your family and your own personal time because you're so focused on work because you're so miserable there? Or do you say, you know what, I got to do something and get up out of here? Even if I just need to change the scenery for now, whether maybe whether I go back to school, take some courses, whatever it may be, but I need an immediate change now because this too much stress. Or do you just sit back and keep going back and forth? Not only that, I know people who's in those situations, right? I was in that situation. And I'm like, nah, because I'm going to wind up. I don't want to wind up putting my hands on somebody. And then when you get pissed, they will, no, I didn't mean it. And all of a sudden, now you're the big bad monster because they've pushed your buttons the wrong way and you have to let them know. And it's just like certain people try to play on that so you can lose your cool. So the cops have to come and escort you out. Or because, it's all kinds of little head games. So my thing is, I know people that's like that. And even if somebody say, hey, listen, they're hiring over where I work or such and such a place, they're asking for people. Why don't you go over there, man? Yeah, but this and this and this. Okay, wait, I don't get you. You complain every day, all day. Now you know that there's other work available and you're sitting up here, well, yeah, but now, so you're going to settle for it. Okay, don't talk me to death tomorrow and the day after that either, and the day after that, because you refuse to leave. You're doing it to yourself. Same thing. Okay? The only changes that happen for you is the changes that you make. And I guarantee you, when their numbers is tanking and they're like, damn, nobody want to see. No. It's not so much you, bro. It's the opponents you fighting. See, we got to understand, all right? This is your money. You go punch your clock and you go and work 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, 6 to whatever your shift is, whatever your schedule is, your hours, whatever. And then all of a sudden you want to sit back on the weekend, kick back and watch a good fight. You're paying your money, but you're not even getting the fights to see fights that you want to see. You're just paying because it's boxing. Okay, if you sit and settle for that and say, well, I just want to see something. Okay, well, you got to shut up then. And you got to let them do whatever they're going to do and just keep your what you think to yourself because nobody's making you support the nonsense. Now, sometimes we know fighters, things happen and things just don't happen. I get that. But I'm saying when a fighter is clearly ducking another fighter and decides he's going to go overprice himself just so it looks like, well, I tried to make the fight happen and whatever, and he didn't accept my terms, don't support the next fight that he has with some meatball. If he fights a respectable guy, and whatever, and you decide, I can at least live with that. Okay, it's just like people saying, what's his name? Like Caleb Plant, calling him a ducker. And they seem to forget this guy got way less fights than Canelo, right? And he had a mandatory to fight. So he's supposed to let them strip him of his title so he could go and fight Canelo. No. And Canelo holds all the cards. He is the cash cow, right? So what does Caleb Plant come? What is his bargaining chips? You didn't let your belt go. You came over here. You come with nothing. This is not even a unification fight now. This is just you're an opponent. How stupid would that be, right? Okay. So Caleb Plant was fighting a mandatory. Okay? When Anthony Joshua fought Kubrat Pulev, it was a mandatory. It wasn't somebody he handpicked and said, I want Pulev. Okay? He was a mandatory. So nobody can say, well, Joshua could have fought Fury or could have fought Wilder or could have fought, Dillian White, but he chose to fight. No, he didn't choose to fight Pulev, And again, if a guy is going to duck, you don't duck a top fighter and then go fight another top fighter. No. You understand what I'm saying? You duck a top fighter to go fight a meatball. So you guys, I'm making this known so you guys are out. Because every time you make yourself clear, there's always some idiot who watch a video and go, yeah, but blah, blah, blah. Like, you clearly missed my point, man. Go get a life. If people are ducking, okay? Clearly ducking just to go fight some meatball. I don't support it. You do what you want, but I don't support it. Now, on to something else. Speaking of Caleb Plant, I watched an interview with Caleb Plant, and Caleb Plant is talking about how, the Benavides fight. He was asked a question about fighting, and like he said they were at some event or something, and as they were coming down the stairs, that him and Plant him and Benavides, was face to face, and he told him, "Hey man, what's up with the fight between me and you?" And then his manager said, "Nah man, there's no need to rush into that fight. We need to build you guys up first," which I agree. Okay, every fight is not a super fight. Okay, if Hearns and Leonard fought too early in their career, it wouldn't have been what it was. It wouldn't have been a super fight. That particular fight itself wouldn't have been a super fight. Okay, so by the time Leonard and Hagler was supposed to fight, it would have been a super fight. Leonard and Hagler didn't get it on until later on, when Leonard's body started to fill out more and he became more natural and he felt more comfortable that I can beat this guy. That's when that happened. Okay, but there's many fights you can think of that if they would have fought. Look, when Roy Jones and Hopkins fought the first time, it wasn't considered a super fight. Okay, it wasn't considered a super fight. It wasn't even on the pay-per-view. If you remember, look, Hopkins went to jail. He came out, got a late. He started boxing in jail, but for namesake, he wasn't as known yet. Roy was known, but Roy wasn't he wasn't that name that he was going to become yet. You understand what I'm saying? But he had to fight somebody. But what I'm saying is, look at how they both became big stars. So by the time the second out, let's just say the first time they fought, if it would have been the second time around, no, not that time, because Roy was washed. They both was past their prime then. Put it like that. But let's just say if the first time they fought would have been around the time after they both got big. Remember the fight? I can't remember who was fighting who, but they had both of them on satellite, and Roy was fighting as a light heavyweight. And he's telling him, man, I'm really too big for Bernard Hopkins, man, and this and this and this. And they were arguing back and forth, and it was the same thing. It was negotiating over money. It was the money, 60-40. Bernard won at 50-50. Now, if they would have fought around then, that fight now is seen as a super fight. But when they fought, it wasn't considered a super fight. Benavides versus Caleb Plant is no super fight when that fight could have happened. Let's understand, okay? Neither one of them are like 35, 40 fights in. They didn't, and it's not even the amount of fights so much. It is and it isn't. For namesake, these guys, look, people right now are still doubting that Caleb Plant is a top elite fighter. You got people saying that Canelo's going to knock him out 2 or 3 rounds. Okay, so he's still not even seen that way. So how in the hell is it that they should have fought years ago? No. Benavides is only 24. So what are you guys talking when you say these things? People don't think. You can't just, I want that fight. And then it just happens that, we snap our fingers. No. The point, what I'm saying is you're building, you're getting the support, you get to that point where now you are that name. Here you go, another fighter in the same seat with you, and then all of a sudden, I'm not interested. That's the kind of nonsense I'm talking about. And also, Caleb Plant said something that I agree with. He said, I'm going to fight. My career is going to go the way, do things I want to do. Not the way everybody else want me to do, but the way I want me to do it. And I agree with that. That doesn't mean he's not saying, I'm ducking people. If I want to duck somebody. No, he's saying he got bigger fish to fry than Benavides. And, he started resume comparing a little bit to who fought who and how things went. He wants Canelo. Okay, he wants Canelo. And anybody who's talking about, man, he should fight Benavides first. Okay, that's your opinion. But at the same time, that would be almost like they have a $500 million lottery over here versus a $500,000 lottery over here. And you're going to tell me you're going to go for that $500,000 first. You're going to go for that first. And yet you got a $500 million over here. That would be pretty stupid. So all of that rush, no, that's not what it's about. But I understand where he's coming from. And what I'm saying, when people are talking, that's a good fight. That's a good fight. Then that fighter has got to that point. Caleb Plant, still people are knocking him. And you still have a lot of people who don't think Benavides is even going to have a chance of beating Canelo. A lot of people. You see people saying, yeah, I think Benavides is going to beat him, but you have way more people saying Benavides gets knocked out. Plain and simple. So we'll see. And, hopefully for all of them, for the boxing fans, that the fights that should happen do happen. Pause. Okay. On to something else that I saw that I thought was pretty crazy. Okay. Now, I made a video talking about it, and it kind of made me laugh, and I said, okay, wait a minute, man. We were talking about Derek Chisora making the comments that Deontay Wilder's holding off on his fight with Tyson Fury. He's waiting, right? He's waiting. So he's going to end up getting like $80 million versus Tyson Fury, which is complete garbage. Like, I don't know what Derek Chisora is thinking about, man. Maybe that's just wishful thinking. If he honestly really believes that, I don't see how. But I would really love to know who in the hell is going to pay $80 million to Deontay Wilder. And not only that, if he's going to pay him $80 million, then how much are they going to pay Tyson Fury? I mean, on top of that, no live gate, just a pay-per-view. And even if it was a live gate, I mean, where are they going to fight? Where's this going to happen? Deontay Wilder's not willing to travel out of America, so it's not like he's going to go to Saudi Arabia and fight. Because that's right, the only place I can think of that they could go and make that kind of money. But what promoter, who's actually really going to pay that to Deontay Wilder? Who's going to pay that? like who? What is their cut going to be? You know how much money this pay-per-view would have to make in order for them to be able to pay $80 million? So I'm like, yeah, okay. And the funny thing is, for the fans who like a particular fighter, I actually read comments and started seeing and hearing that people saying things like Deontay's actually entitled to $80 million. That it's possible, yeah, that could happen. And I'm like, wow. And it just shows you how many casual fans and how many unrealistic people actually think that they're educated on boxing and what's going on in boxing based on hearing people say false things. I mean, I don't know what in the hell made Derek Chisora think that shit, but like seriously, I'm like, you can't be serious, Derek. 80 million, bro? Are you serious? And I wanted to make sure I heard it clear. Like he's trying to wait, is he saying 40 million split? Which would be stupid, because how do you, if I beat your ass, okay, I kick your ass, there's no way in hell you gonna come tell me we gonna split 40 million for you, 40 million for me. Man, screw you. I beat you. See, this is what I mean. This is a business. So it's like this, okay? When you first come to a job, they say starting salary, right? And let's just say that starting salary is $18 an hour. You've been at this job 10 years already, 5 to 10 years, just say whatever, right? Even 3 years, whatever. But let's say your salary is now $22 an hour. You know how sick to your stomach you'd be to know that these people are starting people now with 22, and it took you 3, 5, 10, it took, it was a process for you. Now, I've made this comparison before, and I'm doing it again. You are not looking at that person saying that person don't deserve 22. You're saying, okay, fine. Pay them 22. That's cool. I'm not trying to stop anybody from getting their bread, but I've been here X amount of years already. You need to be giving me and all these other people that's been here X amount of years a raise, man. That's spitting in our faces that it took us all these years to get to 22 an hour, and you're going to start new people here with what it took us years to build? Nah. You need to give us a raise. Non-union jobs, okay, if they give, they can do that. They can do that. Okay? But what I'm saying is, you feel some kind of way. So I can understand when a fighter is saying, hell no. No, I beat you, or I'm a bigger name than you. I put way more asses in seats than you. You're going to come, this is what negotiations is about. Okay? That's a big part of the reason. Do y'all remember years ago people were saying, Hulk Hogan can't wrestle for shit, right? I don't know why he got all the attention. It's because of his character. His energy, the people gravitated towards him. You know why they gave him the nod over other people like a Kurt Hennig or Bret Hart and other? Because Hulk Hogan put asses in seats. He single-handedly made people start watching professional wrestling way more than what they was watching. You understand what I'm saying? Even though he wasn't as good as wrestlers as they were, his character stood out. You understand? Let's just be real, right? You got a guy like Bret Hart. He's in front of the camera. Well, you know, I came to the ring, you hit me from behind, and that was a cowardly move. But I'm the best there ever was, the best there is, the best there ever will be. Pretty boring, right? You understand what I'm saying? People don't gravitate towards that. That's how Bob Backlund was. You know, I think it's going to be a good match. You know, we'll come out and we should may the best man win. You know, and this is how they talked. Then this big motherfucker come out there, well, you know, brother, and flexing and posing and this and stretching his eyes and he's a character come to life. Macho Man, oh yeah, like all the Ultimate Warrior hollering, beating his chest, and these were characters that people wanted to see. So even though they may not have been nearly as good as a wrestler as those guys, they didn't have to be because their characters was bigger. Okay, and more attractive and more appealing to the people. You understand what I'm saying? So when you put asses in seats, regardless, people are going to look at you and say, hey, man, yeah, let's work with that guy. You can take a look. How many times have you heard a rap song? Let's just say rap, for example. And that rap song, lyrically, they're not talking about nothing. ABC, simple lyrics, right? Then you got this poetic guy over here who can rhyme, but he just doesn't appeal to the people. So now the people that support him is going, I don't see how this guy can't get an award, right? Or how he can't sell 1 million records when this guy can rhyme. This guy's trash. It's because whatever that trash rapper has is more appealing to the masses than this guy. And because of things like that, record labels won't put the money or trust that this guy can get them what the kind of money that they want. And that's just the way it goes. It's no different in boxing. If you appeal to people, right, and you stand out in a different way, it's like people might not understand it because they might not like you as a fighter. It's just like, for example, people say Terrence Crawford is a more technical, better boxer than Errol Spence. Okay. Still, they got to fight. And somebody got to win, right? But in the meantime, Errol Spence is the hot ticket right now. And Terrence Crawford isn't. It's as simple as that. So if Terrence Crawford has better pay-per-view numbers, if he's able to put more asses in seats, and not only that, he's the unified champion, then what bargaining chips does Terrence Crawford have? Right. So again, that guy who can go in there and do all these different moves and do all these flipping moves off the rope and do all that, and you got this big, well, you know, brother, I was riding on my Harley and yada, 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 and what you're gonna do, right? I never liked that corny shit, but everybody else did. You understand what I'm saying? So it was like, I understood why people gravitated towards Hulk Hogan. Because his character stood out. Regardless to what it is, Errol Spence is more of a gritty fighter. Like I said, he can box. And I think people are underestimating his boxing skills, but he can box. But it's the thing with Spence is, even if you outbox him, he can chop you down and get you out of there. You know what I'm saying? And he just has this grit. Is something in it that's about, like, Spence is the hot ticket. It's as simple as that. Now, overall, we need to understand boxing is a business, and we have to stop talking all this shit about back in the day fighters this and back in the day fighters did this. Listen, to this very day, Sugar Ray Leonard, okay, he's accused of dodging Aaron Pryor. Mike McCallum was pissed off at Marvin Hagler, said that they was at some kind of event and that Marv walked over to him and said, hey man, you know, I just wanted to let you know I always respected you. And that the only reason Marv did that is because Mike McCallum saw him and kind of just walked past him, and Marv knew where it came from. And he says to Marvin, how you respect me? You didn't fight me. You went out and fought the Beast Mugabe. Okay, because this is how you make your money, right? You know, and it's not about trying to find fault in people. You just got to look at the reality. Like I mentioned earlier, how Marvin Hagler only fought at middleweight, yet you give him praises over other people who fought and came up, but then you'll say he was a better fighter, he was this, or no, you can't. What did he accomplish? How much more did he accomplish? Are you talking about a winning streak? Are you talking about how long he held the title? Because he only fought and only got titles at middleweight. So, and don't get me wrong, we all know Marv was a beast. But what I'm saying is, see, we picking and choosing certain people to show favoritism to, and that's not what I do. So when you start making categories and say, well, this fighter is this and he is this, you have to look and you have to be real with yourself. Understand something. What they did back in the day is back in the day. Okay? What's happening now is what's happening now. I'm not focused on what they did back in the day. And I get so irritated when I'm sitting around the barbershop with these old guys. I know, back in the day, fighters were fighters, man. When they came in the ring, they fought 15 rounds, well, first off, let's just be real. There's a whole lot of things that I can break down, and if you really look at it for common sense reasons, that you can look at and say, hey, you know what? That's true. Because first off, let's also realize all those fighters ended up broke. None of those fighters retired with the money that they left boxing with. They all ended up broke. Those fighters didn't have a voice like a Floyd Mayweather does or a Larry Holmes does. See, people, they don't get that. Larry Holmes was a guy just like Magic Johnson in basketball. Magic became a businessman. He know, I'm paying somebody to do this and trusting people to do things that I myself should know how to do. And fighters was always, you handle the fighting part, you make sure you train, do this, do that. We'll handle the business side of things. How many fighters was getting robbed, thinking that they only had an X amount because they're getting robbed and that's why they always look at athletes like they're big dumb jocks. All muscle and no brain type of thing. Think about it, okay? Everything has changed. Everything. Football. There was times when it was like, oh man, these football players, they protecting them like little babies. Back in the day, the quarterbacks got hit. Do you think Troy Aikman wanted all those concussions? Do you think that, what's the guy, McMahon, the quarterback for the Eagles, I think it was, do you think that guy wanted to walk around looking like RoboCop? This dude had pads on top of pads on top of pads. He's all wrapped up. He didn't like a football player. Like he had a RoboCop suit on. Do you think that these guys wanted to get hurt like that? No. You as time go on, you think you have to protect your players. You have to protect human beings, okay? Look, my father did construction for 20 plus years of his life. My father has no feeling in his fingertips right now. His elbows are like jelly, okay? He did what he did to make money to provide for his family. You understand what I'm saying? He did what he did to take care of us. But in his mind, okay, this was a man's work. This is what men do. Men don't, I think my father said his first job as a young man was like going door to door selling Mary Kay and stuff like that. Had a paper out. People was laughing at him, right? And so he wanted to do something that was more manly. Now, my father could fight. Don't get it twisted. Okay, anyway. So my father is now growing into a man, okay? He becomes, and all of a sudden, he starts doing construction work. And my point is, that work beat his body down. I did construction for a little bit, okay? There's jobs that will break your body down while you're young. You just don't realize it. Because the older you get, your body, it takes people longer to heal and things like that, or aches and pains and all of that are easy to deal with the younger you are, I guess. So at the end of the day, it broke his body down. What does my dad have to really show for it? And my father left work, permanent disability with a bad hernia. Okay, I'm just getting personal with you guys. What I'm saying, what do you have to show for that other than your little pension? And now you have to live check to check because why? Because you don't have a ton of money. So it's the same thing, but think, athletes get paid millions of dollars. So do you understand when you negotiate boxing, it's not like basketball and football, baseball, soccer. You don't choose who you want to play. You have a schedule, okay? Fighters, unless you get a mandatory, you understand what I'm saying? You can, all right, I'm the champ. I'm gonna fight the number 10 contender this time. You know what? Let me fight the number 8 contender. We've had champions, people that had titles that was fighting people that weren't even in the top 10. and was getting away with it. So when you have guys in here negotiating, nobody's going to sit here, take a step backwards, and let you dictate. No, you're not going to give me 60-40. You're going to give me 50-50. And pretty much this is what people are trying to do. Now, I saw a video the other day and I started laughing because everybody's entitled to their opinion. This guy, Blue Blood, said that Deontay Wilder is better than Muhammad Ali. Now, Muhammad Ali has fought punchers. He's fought boxers. He's fought some of, all kind of styles. Muhammad Ali is a guy who he went in the ring and he fought his ass off. He did his best to win. Ali never came to a fight and came to lay down. We know Ali didn't train certain fights like he should have. He even said himself that there's certain fights he didn't train properly. He just, because he's so good, he didn't feel like he had to, which is a fallacy of ignorance for any fighter. Okay, you make the fight harder for yourself. And that's fine if that's his opinion. But I look at a few simple facts and say, look at Muhammad Ali's resume and look at the who's who of who he's fought. From the time he was a young man all the way up. Okay? Look at Deontay Wilder's resume. From the time, and he's still current, and look at who he's fought. You can't even compare their resumes. The only thing that you can do is say, oh, look at all the knockouts. Yeah, look at the caliber of opponents. Okay? And this is not even a knock on Deontay Wilder. This is reality. Okay? When you sit here and want to compare, and it's not because Ali's from back in the day. I don't care nothing about that. He's a legendary fighter and all that. If you put the two of them in the ring, and you honestly tell me you think that Deontay Wilder would have beat Muhammad Ali, I'm going to ask you some simple questions like, with what, the right hand? Do you really think Ali couldn't escape that right hand? 2, nobody's never knocked Ali out. Not Ernie Shavers, not Joe Frazier, not George Foreman, not Ken Norton. He fought with a broke jaw. A whole fight, like third round on. Ken Norton says he broke in the last, but we know that it was a different story from what we, regardless. He fought with a broke jaw. He fought Sonny Liston. Sonny Liston cheated, had that liniment on his eyes, and he wanted to quit. Angelo Dundee said, he was saying, cut the gloves off, I can't see, right? And he said he took his pinky, put whatever it was burning his eyes. He tried to rinse his eyes out, so he told him, just run, right? Just move. So Ali got out there, dance, move, and then when this, so Ali faced adversity early in his career, when he got dropped by Henry Cooper, all that. See, we forget the Harold Sconia situation and all that kind of stuff, right? We forget these things. I don't forget shit. Now, I do forget some stuff because it's not really worth remembering. Plus, it's not like it's my life. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? We sit and look at certain things. First off, Ali has been battle tested time after time after time. Okay? He was never protected. Ali was never manufactured. Deontay Wilder was manufactured. He's been protected. He's never had those kind of situations. His first big test, he failed. And that's against Tyson Fury. He failed. And of course, we already know, oh, but it's because he cheated. We already know that I don't care. He's been outboxed by people who he shouldn't have been able to be outboxed by. We all know this. Here's my thing, right? I don't know who the next American heavyweight will be that will be able to make any noise or whatever, how long it's going to be or whatever, or when. But you see the difference is this. When you cheer for your countryman, and you cheering for him because he's your countryman, but at the same time, you don't show any bias. You're going to be honest and say, hey, man, the guy lost. Or, you look at certain opponents and you know this is not an easy fight. But you can sit here, well, yeah, he rules, he's the best, nobody can beat, whatever. But when you all that stuff, that's not me, regardless. But when you get to a point where you show racism and hatred and bitterness towards anybody because they're better than this guy, and you know deep down inside they are, now you get to the point where a lot of people, and this is something that we shouldn't do, But a lot of people start judging that fighter based on everything everybody else is saying. Now, for Deontay, he did it to himself as well because he jumped on that bandwagon and started making excuses and everything. People always say Deontay was different up until that point. You know, always smiling, had a different, more pleasant attitude and all, and things just change, right? Sometimes your true colors come out, whatever you want to say. But whoever the next person is, can you imagine? And we don't know this COVID situation because what I'm about to say is, can you imagine how long it's been, right? Just imagine how things would be with commentating, the people, the boxing personalities, the Max Kellermans and all that. Can you imagine how the scope of things would change, and if an American finally got his hands on the world championship? And I ain't talking about just a good fight. I'm talking about somebody come out, he can unify the division and do a bunch of great things. Can you imagine how different boxing would be treated, or that particular fighter would be treated? Because let's be perfectly honest, right? Ever since Shannon Briggs, Evander Holyfield, there's been no American, I mean, Brian Jennings, guys like him, no, there's been no American fighters that made any noise. They were getting a little notoriety, got nailed to Klitschko's or somebody and got beat. There's nobody from America right now doing anything in the heavyweight division that anybody cares about. So Deontay Wilder is like the last hope, I'm going to say, for biased people. See, me personally, I give credit where it's due, and I'm not giving a shit about where you're from. That's just me personally. And I realize there's many people who don't, they're not like that. So they look at me like, man, y'all cheering for. First, it's not about cheering. It's just about being honest. Okay? Remember how Team USA was dominating basketball? And then remember all of a sudden now you got basketball team players from other countries. And you're like, damn, these dudes can actually play ball. Like, okay. Nothing stays the same. Things change, man. In soccer, Cuba was killing it for a long time. Brazil was killing it for a long time. Then all of a sudden, if Brazil is not the top team, they're like, damn, it's so shocking. American football, okay? The New England Patriots was killing it for a long time. But people got to understand, it's always somebody before somebody who was doing something, and then it changes. You understand what I'm saying? So now when you look and say, well, damn, this franchise has this and has that. My thing is, I don't need to sit up. If I did a comparison, this fighter versus this fighter, it's just for fun, just to see what people are thinking, and you know. But for me to sit here and marvel at what they did in the past and shit on the fighters now, then again, it's no wonder why people are not into boxing like they used to be. And now, because of finances, different people try to come in boxing and make money off of boxing. Now it's helping certain fighters make more money, but that doesn't change the fact that you got all these fighters that don't want to fight each other. So, you know, and I made the comparison about you imagine how things would change with an American heavyweight champion, because see, you see the way things are happening right now with COVID. If you want a piece of his ass, they're not going to make him go to the UK. They're not going to make him go to Saudi Arabia. They're not going to make him go anywhere. You're going to have to come to America. So your bargaining chips to come here, do you think you're going to come from the UK and go, hey, man, listen, I'm such and such. You know, I deserve this. No, bro. You understand what I'm saying? That guy, unless he has heart and integrity, is going to say, no. I don't need you to protect me. I want that fight. That guy will be so protected. You know what I'm saying? I'm being straight up real. Look at Anthony Joshua right now. He's the money man. If an American fighter was to destroy Anthony Joshua, boxing in America is different. From it, that doesn't mean he's going to become all of a sudden now he's just this huge. It doesn't mean that. It really doesn't. But let's say if he did, it will go to show you how big Anthony Joshua is. Because then it's like, well, the only reason that this guy is in that position is because he dethroned and destroyed the guy who was the cash cow in the heavyweight division. But what I'm saying, so now imagine if this guy was putting asses in seats and he was the man. They don't want to lose that. Do you understand what I'm saying? They don't want to lose that. And then what would happen is that would start opening up the doors. You know what you start seeing? You start looking in the rankings, and all of a sudden, American heavyweights that you never even don't even know, you start seeing different names up there. Like, who the hell is this guy? Who? Do you understand? We know boxing was dominated by Americans for a long time, right? So now, the fact that you got like Wilder there, and Wilder's in the position he's in right now, where people are questioning if he's even going to come back. They don't want this same thing happening again. I'm just being 100% right. I'm trying to give people, look at things logically, not the way you want to see it, but look at things logically. If you had an American heavyweight champion right now and he was coming out doing his thing and he was, trust me, man, it would be so hard to negotiate a fight with that guy. And he's the man all of a sudden now, and it would be so hard, man. And I see the same things happening all over again. And see, this is something that I get tired of seeing in the sport and in life, period. But all this favoritism, all this hatred, the racism, the we're gonna put this guy on a pedestal. And you see what's happening with Canelo right now. You see what's happening with certain, like, people don't understand it. And I said a long time ago, I don't like this franchise champion situation. Which, and kudos to Deontay Wilder for turning that shit down. I don't even respect what the franchise champion is. It, to me, it's just, it's nothing but a way for these sanctioning bodies, WBC, to take some more of your money. But at the same time, it's giving you immunity to just chill, do what you want to do. I just don't respect that. But listen, that's all I'm going to say in this video. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch y'all on the next one.